right, you guys, that is a wrap. Beautiful, gorgeous brown stew chicken. And welcome back to my channel. I go by London or London Cooks, and as you guys can see from the title, today we are making some brown stew chicken. So here's everything that we are going to be using. I have ketchup, black pepper, garlic powder, ginger, garlic, and pimento seasoning. I found this at my local farmer's market, but if you're not able to find it at a farmer's market or a Caribbean store, it's also listed on my Amazon storefront. All-purpose seasoning, green seasoning, and this is fresh blend, and this is what it looks like on the inside. If you're new here, fresh blend is really just onions, green onions, peppers, thyme, and garlic blended, and I do have a tutorial for this, so I'll definitely share the link to that below. Some oil. This is about 3 pounds of chicken, and I did go ahead and cut my chicken into little bite-sized pieces. You don't want anything too big. I did also wash my chicken using cool water, lemon juice, and some vinegar. This is 2 carrots, which I did cut, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 3 medium-sized potatoes, and they're in water just so that they don't change color. A few pimento seeds, which I will definitely go ahead and grind later. You don't have to do that, that's optional. I do not like to bite down into these little seeds, so I usually just crush them. A few sprigs of thyme, 1 whole Scotch Bonnet pepper, and this little thing right here is Sazon. Now, Sazon isn't traditionally used in stew chicken, but you guys, I'm out of paprika. I went to the supermarket and I forgot to buy it. So as a substitute, I'm going to be using Sazon, but if you have paprika, definitely use that. And you can do without the paprika if you prefer not to do so, but I personally think that paprika helps to give stew chicken a really nice color, so I would not advise to leave it out. The first thing that we're going to do is to season our chicken. So I'm going in with 1.5 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose seasoning, 1.5 tablespoons of the ginger, garlic, and pimento seasoning. And you guys, it's no big deal if you're not able to find this seasoning. I personally think that this is just ground ginger, garlic powder, and some grounded pimento seeds. So if you're not able to find this, no worries, you can definitely make that mix on your own. 1 teaspoon of black pepper, a dash of salt. I'm going to add this entire packet of Sazon, but if you are using paprika, or if I was using paprika, I definitely would have went in with 1 tablespoon of paprika. Next, I'm going to go in with 2 heaping tablespoons of my fresh blend. And lastly, I'm going to go in with this beautiful, delicious, and flavorful green seasoning. So if you have your own green seasoning, go ahead and use this. If you don't have green seasoning really is optional in this recipe, though it will definitely turn the flavors up a notch in here. So now I'm just going to evenly combine the seasonings with the chicken, and then I'm going to allow this to marinate for at least 4 to 6 hours. But I would highly advise that if you're able to allow this to marinate overnight at least, trust me, the flavors will definitely intensify and you will have flavors down to the bone for sure. All right, so do you guys see how gorgeous this is looking? Specks of seasoning everywhere. All right, so this is how I like to see my chicken or my meat look when it's seasoned. So now I'm going to cover this and allow it to marinate for 4 hours, and then we're gonna get to cooking. Now, if you don't want to go the fresh blend green seasoning route, of course, you can definitely keep this simple as possible. So I would suggest 1 large onion, 4 stalks of green onions, a few sprigs of thyme, 1 small sweet pepper, and also 3 cloves of garlic. With the exception of the thyme, chop everything up. Season your chicken with a half of what you chopped up and stash the next half for later. Once you start cooking your chicken, you will add that to the pot along with the thyme. Our chicken has fully marinated, so I have added a generous amount of oil to my pot, and this is a Dutch oven pot, but if you have a Dutch pot, that'll work even better. So now I'm going to allow this oil to get really, really hot, and then we're going to go in with the 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now, this method with the brown sugar, you guys, is making browning the natural way. If you prefer not to do this, if you prefer not to do it this way, you can definitely skip this step, and you can also use browning, but that's up to you. I will not be using browning today. The only way that I suggest that you use browning is, let's say you add this sugar to the pot, you put your chicken in, and the color is still not up to where you want it to be, or it doesn't look like where you want it to be, then you can go into your liquid with a little browning. But for now, I'm going to only use 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And you guys, it's important to use enough sugar, because if you don't use enough sugar, then your chicken may not get that nice brown color. Next, once I start burning this, I'm going to wait until the sugar has caramelized and starts bubbling before adding the chicken in here. You do not want to add the chicken before it starts to get bubbly, or else your chicken may not have a nice pretty color. The next thing is, I've also realized that if you don't use enough brown sugar, depending on how much chicken you're going to be cooking, then the color may not really be there. Alright, so again, if this is a tedious process for you, skip this part, season your chicken with browning, and then you put the chicken directly into the oil to cook. As you can see, my oil is smoking and it's really hot and the oil is ready. So, I'm going to go in with the brown sugar. Now, I'm going to just use my spoon to stir this while this is going. And you guys, I'm doing this over a medium-high heat. You do not want to brown or burn the sugar too much, because the sugar can result in a bitter taste, and trust me, it's going to pass off to your food, and you can consider your entire pot of brown stew chicken done. There's nothing you can do to get rid of that bitter flavor. Alright, so you guys see how bubbly the sugar is? I'm now going to add the chicken. So I'm using my spoon to somewhat press this down. Nothing serious, you guys, because I want to ensure that the sugar is going to coat each piece in here. Again, to give it a nice, pretty color. So I'm going to leave this alone for about 2 minutes or so, because I want the sugar to transfer that beautiful brown color to the chicken. And after about 2 or 3 minutes or so, then I'm going to begin to stir this. Now, this is how my bowl looks after I took the chicken out, and I'm just going to pour about a cup of water or so in here, because we need that seasoning in there. All right, so just testing this out to see how hot the handle is. All right, so it looks like, the chicken looks like, you know, it can definitely take some stirring right now. Do you see all of that? So now we're gonna stir this, and you guys, do you see how beautiful that color is already on the chicken? That's that brown sugar. Giving us that beautiful browning color. Now, what I'm gonna also do is, you guys, I want both sides of this to get coated in the sauce. So I'm not going to bother the chicken too much, because I want each side to get coated with that beautiful brown color. Now the next thing that I would advise, if you have a wide pot, this makes life way easier when browning with the brown sugar. My pot isn't that wide, so right now there's chicken on top of chicken. So with that being said, my browning process is going to take just a little bit longer, but if you have a wide pot, whereas everything is in an even layer, the browning process is so much easier. Alright, so I'm going to continue to turn the chicken every couple of minutes or so, because I want this to get a nice, beautiful brown color. And I'm not going to add anything to my pot until my chicken is at the color that I desire. Also, you guys, I haven't added any form of liquid to the pot as yet. And do you guys see how much liquid is already coming from here? Alright, you guys, so I'm going to continue to stir this until it gets to a nice, beautiful brown color. It should take about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to continue to brown the chicken, and once it gets to that nice brown color, then we're going to add some liquid to the pot and start seasoning our pot. Alright, just giving my pot a stir. Still browning my chicken, you guys. I want this to get to a nice, beautiful color before I pour any type of liquid or do anything in my pot. Alright, worst case scenario, you guys. Let's say you started the browning process and your chicken doesn't look anything like this. It's light and white and, you know, not so brown. What I would advise to do, go in with your water in your pot, start to season it, and then add a little bit of browning to the liquid. Or if you have dark soy sauce, that'll get the job done also. Alright, so you guys see how beautiful this looks already. And this is just sugar that did this. Alright, now that I'm done browning my chicken, as you guys can see, a lot of liquid did come from my chicken. So, as I mentioned before, I only poured 1 cup of water to the pot that I used to season the chicken, just to get the excess seasonings out of the bowl. I'm going to pour that on. Next, I'm going to add 3 really large tablespoons of fresh blend in here. If you chose not to use fresh blend, then at this point in time is when you'll go in with the next half of seasonings that you stashed from seasoning the chicken. Alright, so 3 really large tablespoons of fresh blend. I'm also going to go in with some thyme. And I'm now going to add my carrots in here. You guys, brown stew chicken is not an all-day thing. This should be done in about 45 minutes to an hour or less. It probably would not take that long, depending on the amount of chicken that you're cooking. So yeah, you can definitely go ahead and add everything to your pot once your chicken has been browned. So my family do not like hard carrots. They like their carrots really soft, so add this in whenever you want to. For me, or as for me and my family, we like really soft carrots. So I've added that to my pot, and I'm now gonna give this a stir just to combine everything in here. Do you guys see how gorgeous this is already looking? You guys, my mind told me to use my bigger Dutch oven pot, but I was like, nope, I think this size should work. Well, I guessed wrong. Alright, so we're making this work, you guys. Next, you guys watched me grind up the pimento seeds. So I'm going to add this entire amount of pimento seeds, and this is definitely going to take the flavors to a whole new level. So I'm just going to give this a stir, and then I'm going to cover my pot and allow this to cook for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to add the potatoes in here. Let's say you get to this stage and your chicken is still not at a nice brown color that you desire. Then you would add the browning directly into the liquid in the pot. Not on the chicken, but in the liquid in the pot. And something I've learned is whatever color your liquid is, your meat will turn out the same color as your liquid. So you can kind of sort of use the liquid in the pot as you're adding the browning in there as a guide to whatever color your chicken may turn out to be. Alright, so it's about 5 minutes since I've added my seasonings and the carrots and everything to the pot. Now I'm going to go in with my whole Scotch Bonnet pepper. Next, I'm going to go in with the potatoes, and I did already drain the water off of here. So I'm going to add my potatoes, and I'm going to allow this to cook with the chicken. Or I should say, I'm going to come back to check this in about 10 minutes or so, or when the potatoes are almost done cooking. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to cover this and allow it to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, or when the potatoes are almost done cooking, I will be back. Since my pot has been going, and I forgot to mention earlier that I have been cooking this over a medium heat, and that's after we got done browning the meat. I lowered my heat to medium, and this looks good. At this point in time, taste your pot and adjust your seasonings as necessary. I'm also going to remove this so that I don't accidentally break that in the pot. And my potatoes, as you can see, is almost ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add about 3/4 of a cup of ketchup in here. If you don't like ketchup, use your favorite ketchup substitute or leave it out completely. Now, ketchup is going to make your gravy nice and rich. So that's the purpose of using ketchup. If you leave out the ketchup, you will notice a difference in taste. Your gravy is not going to be as rich, but the difference that you'll notice is not that crazy. So I'm going to add about a cup of water in here, just so that we can have a little bit more gravy. And then I'm going to allow this to continue to cook for about 5 minutes or so, and then our brown stew chicken is going to be done. Alright, going in with a little bit of water just to loosen things up a little bit. I know for a fact that my carrots is already cooked. As you can see, potatoes is almost done. And our brown stew chicken is almost ready. Alright, so I'm going to leave this pot to continue to simmer for about 5 minutes or so, since I just added the ketchup in here, and then everything will be done. At this point in time, taste your pot, adjust your seasonings as necessary. If it tastes like it's missing something, go ahead and add it. Alright? Alright, you guys, that is a wrap. Beautiful, gorgeous brown stew chicken. This is a whole chicken that I use, you guys, so it's different. It's breast, wing, leg, everything in here, different options. You guys see the color, nice rich gravy. And trust me, at this point in time, don't worry about if your chicken should be cooked. After everything it's been through between the browning process and everything, your chicken should be cooked. Alright, so that is a wrap. Brown stew chicken smells so yummy and will taste even better. This is Sunday dinner for us, but because stew chicken is so quick and easy to make, in my opinion, feel free to serve this on any day of the week at any time. My husband is a big fan of stew chicken, so if it's up to him, we eat this every single day. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope the recipe and the directions were clear enough. I hope they were super easy to follow. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you're not yet subscribed, sorry you guys, this is so good. If you've made it to this point in the video and you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Turn your notifications on to be notified of any time I upload new tutorials. I'm sorry you guys, this is too delicious. To be notified of any tutorials. Share this with a family member or a friend. And I'm sorry I'm speaking with a full mouth, you guys, but this is just too delicious. Share it with a family or a friend. Hit the subscribe button, join the fam, because we're always looking for new cooking friends. And don't forget, you don't ever have to follow anyone's recipe to a T. Do things how you like it. Switch things up if you must. Take things out, add things. It doesn't matter. That is the point of homemade cooking, alright? I just show you guys how I make mine. And for sure, take this recipe, personalize it, and make things however you like it, alright? You guys, it was my pleasure doing this again with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with any questions or any concerns, and of course, happy cooking, and see you in the next tutorial.